Good morning. You were live in the CNN newsroom. I'm Jim Acosta in Washington. We begin with new questions about Donald Trump's extreme rhetoric, perhaps the biggest question of them all. Will Trump face any accountability? And will Republican leaders call him out after the former president shared a video on social media that could pose a security risk for President Biden? Here's that horrific video posted by Trump showing the president hogtied in the back of a pickup truck. Over the weekend, Biden and Trump offered distinctly different Easter messages. The president calling for peace, security, and dignity for people around the world. As for Trump, he wished a happy Easter to those he, quote, totally despises in the, quote, failing nation, end quote, that he hopes to lead. He reshared articles suggesting he's a modern-day Jesus who is being crucified, and he accused the president of a, quote, years-long assault on the Christian faith. The president, of course, is a devout Catholic. This week, he's pledging to address, quote, Biden's border bloodbath, putting a lot of these in quotes just to make sure you understand this is Trump's rhetoric. This just 11 days after insisting that that rhetoric was exclusively about the economic consequences of a Biden victory. Here with me to discuss Trump's increasingly inflammatory and violent rhetoric is Ruth Ben-Ghiat. She's a professor of history at NYU. She's also the author of multiple books, including Strongmen, Mussolini to the President. Ruth, great to have you on, as always. You know, when we talk about Trump sharing this violent video of the President Biden hogtied in the bed of a pickup truck, you know, we saw the consequences of his words on January 6th. How concerned are you about this kind of stuff sparking some kind of violence? What do you think?
I'm very concerned. And it's, you know, when you work on coups and authoritarian takeovers, you look at this a bit differently. It's not just a joke. The fact it's a life-size image, it's really performing, you know, a work of imagination for Americans, because a sitting president of the United States who's hogtied as though he's some kind of hostage, this implies, shall we say, not a democratic transition of power, but something, a bad end that is happening to the sitting president of the United States. And when it's shared on social media by somebody who already tried to overthrow the government, then of course that is extremely serious and bespeaks a very, you know, an intent to continue to incite violence against anyone who's trying to hold him accountable, but now also the president of the United States.
Vincent Franco, Caroline Franco, two names, well, probably like me, you've never heard of before. They are the people who are bragging, they're not even hiding it, bragging that it's their vehicle, they did this whole, I can't quite believe I'm saying this, let's threaten the life of a sitting president. Let's put pictures off of him bound and just real vile stuff. Not hiding about it, thinking it's the normal way to go about. What sort of lives do these people live where, take the politics out of it for one moment, what type of lives are these people living when they're in their local supermarket, I don't know, filling up at gas? Why have they got so much concentrated effort and hate, so much devotion for somebody who probably doesn't care that they exist? Trump's not suddenly going to come and pay their bills. But this is not politics here. We're dealing with something I don't really understand, because, for example, you run up and down and you wave your flag. Okay, how is that going to affect your housing policy, job security? What are your fiscal plans for infrastructure? Because it's all very well to say this, that and the other. What is your alternative? Because waving a flag, if you're suddenly given a budget and asked to sit in a committee, how are you going to do it when we come to the real important stuff? Because you have an opinion waving a flag, so we'll give you the platform. What exactly is it that you're proposing which is an alternative? I'm being serious. DeFranco's opposed. There has to be something there.
The music hall. Joe Biden enlisting former presidents Obama and Clinton for a historic fundraiser that was closed to video cameras except for the campaigns.
That sounds like a party to me!
Biden raising more than $25 million, adding to his growing war chest, which far outpaces Trump's. But money is not Biden's only weapon. The president sharpening his personal attacks, going after Trump the way Trump belittles his opponents.
I'd be happy to play. I told him once before, I said, I'll give you 3 strokes if you carry your own bag.
And it got tougher from there.
A little old and out of shape.
Biden's staffer is now calling Trump feeble, confused, and weak. But as we learned in 2016, beating Trump at his own game is not easy.
Have you seen his hands? They're like this. And you know what they say about men with small hands? You can't trust them.
He referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem.
I was there that night. It really happened. Here with me today, podcast host and author of the bestseller Burn book, Kara Swisher, editor-in-chief of The Dispatch and columnist at the LA Times, Jonah Goldberg, New York Times journalist and podcast host Lulu Garcia Navarro, and editor-in-chief of the Washington Free Beacon, Eliana Johnson. Welcome back, everyone. Good to have you here. Kara, when it comes to personal insults and trolling, can Biden out-Trump Trump?
I don't think he has to out-Trump Trump. He has to be Biden. I think he's actually quite good at it. He was good at it the last election cycle, the come on man, the thing that he does. So I think he's just got to be genuine to himself when he's doing it. And that was a good dig. And this is where politics is with Trump. You have to sort of meet him there. And Trump could be rather thin-skinned when it happens. And maybe he'll hit back. But I think Biden's pretty good at it, actually.
Eliana, Biden's staffers are reportedly test marketing various insults like broke Don and low energy Don, both of which I think are kind of weak. And the question I have, what do we think of the chances that Biden or his staff can come up with a killer nickname like Crooked Hillary? And should he even try?
Don't think it's a good idea. Look, Trump has shown that nobody can outdo him at this game, but you can tell that the Team Biden feels the need to keep the attention on Trump. And they know that to the extent Trump is dominating the headlines, they can keep the attention on him and not talk about the Biden administration's record. That is good for him. I'm sorry, though. Calling him old and feeble is not going to make up for the fact that their own guy is old and feeble. That's a losing argument.
I think social media, we live in a social media age. And I think, there's things like Don Corleone. That's actually a pretty good one. But that wasn't the Biden people. Their social media is excellent. The Biden team, whoever's running it, is really smart and focuses a lot on the policy. And so I think you have to operate in these zones, no matter how you slice it, because the press pays attention, other politicians pay attention, and it creates memes that move along.
Yeah, so I agree with you that he shouldn't try to out-Trump Trump, and that going after Trump in a way is good fan service for his own base, and he needs to show that he's fighting and stuff. But I agree with Eliana that specifically the terms old and feeble, if it's a debate about who's older and feebler, I don't think those are on Biden's turf. That's not Biden's turf.
Although if he shows himself to be vibrant, which he did at this event, he's shown it to be at the State of the Union address, then it becomes interesting. Why not shove it back in his face?
I think he has to show that he's out there, that he's vigorous, and unfortunately we are in the I'm, rubber and you're glue and whatever I say sticks back to you. I mean, that's kind of where we're at now in terms of these two men. They're both old, and so them pointing fingers at each other is just where we're at.
Lulu, let me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
But now we have that gorgeous word. I never thought a word would sound so good. It's called corruption. I probably have a legal obligation, Mr. Attorney, to make a fortune.
And that's one of the reasons I'm sitting here. I'd like to help.
Could you imagine the treasure trove? My sons and my whole family, we are making a fortune. Millions of dollars.
Tens of millions.
But it makes it harder when stuff like this happens. Because you want to the United States. Always a bunch of suckers. Did you want to say something?
Filth, swelling, muck, boo, boo!
All right. This is about me. This is what the end result is.
Long may he reign! Long may he reign!
The authority is total. And that's what it's going to be.
Their world must be so incredible that, I don't know, getting up in the morning and doing a hard day's work is nothing to do with them. Being respectful and being decent and doing the best for your family, nothing to do to them. Just literally, let's wave a flag and threaten the life of a president. That's their career. That's what they're. I don't know if they're bitter or empty. Something must be going on. And it's not by accident that the Trump campaign or whatever came across this clip. It wasn't sent to them. Somebody didn't discover it. The Francos drove very slowly as the Trump cavalcade or circus was going by and made sure that the Trump circus spotted their truck the Trump circus then posted it. The worst thing about all of this, and this isn't some like, oh, Alex Jones nut jobs. No, it's all calculated. They want to hurt and maim a sitting president of the United States of America. Now just imagine for one moment this had been Ilhan Omar, or somebody related to Ilhan Omar, somebody Ilhan Omar knew. Imagine if she had posted a truck of Trump. Can you imagine? Where would it start? Where would it finish? Elon Musk would be making sure that all of the crackpots who've given him money, that their Twitter posts are pushed up the algorithm. Fox News would have gone non-stop. Breaking news, they would have interrogated anybody and everybody connected to Ilhan Omar. Yet the Francos think this is okay and nobody says anything. It really can't be. Look, the election's coming up. I've got no vote, no skin in the game, whatever, but I'm just on the outside looking in. How is it acceptable that somebody is threatening the life of a sitting president and those at Fox just think, yeah? We're in a world of misinformation, I get that, but let me tell you a story. There's a place in England called, well, I refer to it as an area, East Anglia. You can Google it to find the exact details, but there was a gentleman, I use that word being politely, you can call him an a-hole, who's driving, in fact he is an a-hole. He was driving around with a truck and a picture of a female close in his life, all bound up. And, well, he was shamed, forced to apologise, and it was dealt with in the exact way. It wasn't about a left or right political situation, it was just wrong. You don't do that. It's disrespectful. So how come that happens in Suffolk, yet this guy, I think it's in Long Island or wherever it is, it's acceptable? You're telling me that you would be proud that your whole family know you as the person that wants to, well, hurt another human being, and you publicly brag about it? I mean, in any world, that's shameful. These Francos, I would love them one day to go into a school and in front of a load of, let's say, Republican politicians' kids, tell them that this is right and everything else is wrong. I really would. Give them a platform. Let's hear what they've got to say. Because at the moment, their lives must be so empty. If that's what they're doing for attention, yes, we're talking about them. Yes, their name is out there. Yes, they're getting likes on Facebook. Well done.